Hello, everyone. I am Fyruz Khan, and I'm back with a brand new class, with a new chapter, of course. So yeah, uh, I hope my students are here. So before everyone joins, you can like our page on Facebook, Fyruz Education Services. You can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Fyruz Education Services again, and you can also send me friend request um, if you want, because I run and telecast all the classes in my personal page. So yeah, there we go. So we will start in a few minutes. Just waiting for the students to join. If you guys are here, just type yes so that I know you're here, and we will start. A very interesting chapter. We did first half of the chapter in Zoom because my students preferred Zoom for that class. But we are back with half of the chapters, and I will run through it again. I will show you everything. So yeah, let's start this. So this is external finance. The last chapter was internal finance. So if you guys are here, just type yes so that I can start right now. Okay, we will go ahead and start because it's getting late. Right. So there you go. Last chapter we did internal finance, which was about internal finance is owner's capital, your own money, retained profit, the profit that is made by the business, sale of assets, any assets that exists in the company, and when you sell it, that's internal source as well. Now, these are all a list of external sources: banks, business angels, peer to peer lending, crowdfunding, overdraft, share capital, leasing, trade credit, debentures. Now, we did this three of them in the last class. Today, we will do, in terms of banks, we will do loan, we will do mortgages, we will do overdraft, share capital, leasing, trade credit, and debentures. Okay, so this is the list. I don't want you to get confused, and it's quite similar with each other, and it's very easy. So let me start with an example of a bank loan. Why I want to start with an example of a bank loan? Because a lot of students does not understand the mechanism of it. Okay, how a bank loan is given out. So yeah, there we go. And bank loan is a very common arrangement that is done by businesses, entrepreneurs, individuals often take a bank loan. Now, what is a bank loan? Let me give you an example. Let's have borrowed, or you have borrowed, let's say 50,000 taka. Okay, let's say, and you have to pay in 5 months. So you've borrowed 50,000 taka, which is a small amount, and the duration is you have to pay in 5 months, which is 10,000 taka every month. Okay, which is good. Now, whenever you borrow bank from an external source, you will see this chart. Whenever you borrow money from an external source, there will be an interest rate. That's how banks make money. Okay, so there will be an interest rate, because you may question that, okay, why is bank giving me 50,000 taka loan or 1 crore loan? Because they will make a profit on interest rate. So when you borrow 50,000 for 5 months, you pay 10,000 taka every month, and there will be an interest rate. Now, it depends on the bank. The interest rate may be 9%, it may be 10%, it may be 11%. It depends on the amount, it depends on the country. For example, in Western countries, interest rates are very low, 3%, 4%. In America, in US, 2%, something like that. It also depends on the amount. When you borrow more, you enjoy lower interest. Since, let's say, I'm borrowing less, the interest rate may be 9%. But if I borrow, let's say, 5 crores, my interest may be 8%. Economies of scale, again, the same thing. Okay, financial. This is known as financial economies of scale. So when you borrow more, you enjoy lower interest rate. Okay, so if I'm borrowing 40,000, 50,000 taka, it's a small amount. So I will have more interest rate. But if I borrow 5 crores, it's a big amount. It's a humongous amount. So I will enjoy, let's say, 8%. Okay. So there you go. So the interest rate depends on the bank. The interest rate depends on the amount you have borrowed. The interest rate also varies from country to country. In Bangladesh, the interest rate is quite high. That's how it is in Asian economies. But the interest rate in Western economies like America or like UK is a very, very low, right? Um, and okay, so let's say the interest rate is 9%. So you do 9 divided by 100 into 50,000. Why 50,000? Because we're borrowing 50,000. So you have to pay 4,500 taka. Okay. So every month you're paying 10,000 because you want to finish your payment in 5 months, so which equates to 50,000. In addition to that, you have to pay 4,500. That's the interest amount. That's the profit that the bank is making. This is why the bank is giving you a loan, because every month they will make an additional money of 4,500 taka. So the total amount that you will pay is te- you know 10,000 plus, sorry, the one is missing, 10,000 plus 4,500, which is 14,500. So at the end of 5 months, they will be making a lot of profit. 4,500 into 5. Okay, that's how a bank loan, that's how a bank loan works. Renuma, is everything? Yeah, everything is fine with live. I am live. Is there any problem? Can you see? Zavir, Renuma, can everyone see? Um, you know, everything is fine. I can see there are viewers. Just type yes from my profile. Just let me check. Just let me check. Yes, yes, it is. I am live. Yes, I am live. There shouldn't be any problem. I am live. Okay, I'll go ahead. So that is a bank loan. Okay, so there we go. That's how it functions. So it is a very common arrangement, and you borrow an amount for a fixed period of time. So we have borrowed 50,000 for 5 months for a fixed period of time, and we need to pay an interest on that. Okay, an interest. This is also a bank loan like this is an unsecured loan. Unsecured loan in this case means that there is no guarantee that I'm going to return the money. There is no guarantee that I'm going to return the money. So the lender, the bank, let's say Citibank or any other bank, is at risk. So that is what is known as unsecured loan, because the lender is giving us the money, but there is no guarantee that we are going to give it back. Okay, they're not keeping any kind of security. And a bank loan can be for a long term, it can be for a short term. Okay, so this is basically a short term loan, which is less than a year, 5 months. There can be long term loans where you have taken loans for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, even. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, and what else? So yeah, that is a loan, bank loan. Okay, and this is how the mechanism. This is how a loan works. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to type on our page, Fyruz Education Services, on the comment section, so that I can see what's going on. Right. Now the thing is, let's talk about mortgage. What is a mortgage? Let's have a look. Let's say you want to borrow money for 50 crores. You're going to work on a very big project, a humongous project. And now 50 crores is a big amount. Now the bank tells you, okay, we will give you 50 crores, but is there any guarantee? Is there any surety that you're going to give it back? So they want something from you. Let's say you have this beautiful house a villa. You own the land, you own the property. So you go and tell the bank that yes, I have my own house where I live, and that house is worth let's say 30 crores or 40 crores. And the bank will be happy. So what the bank will do, the bank will take the papers, the house and the land papers, they will keep it with them, and they will dispatch this loan of 50 crores. When you pay the amount, they will give you back the papers. If you can't pay the amount, they will take away your land and property. As simple as that. Okay. And this is known as a secured loan because there is a guarantee that you will pay back. Even if you don't pay back, you have your house on mortgage. This is known as mortgage. Okay, you're keeping something of valuable. It can be a land, it can be a property, it can be a car, it can be a machinery, it can be anything. Okay, something that is very valuable to you. Okay, so that is an example of a mortgage where you borrow an amount from the bank, but you give something in return. It can be land, it can be property as a security. You give the papers will be with them. It's not that you have to leave your house. It's not that you have to evacuate your house. You can live in that house, but the papers will be with them. If you fail to pay the money, they will take away your land or property. If you pay it on time, they will give it back to you. And this kind of mortgage is known as secured because there is a security. The security in this case is this land and property. So that is a mortgage. These are secured loans. Okay. And these are long-term loans. It can be more than 15, 20, 25 years. Okay, and mortgages are usually cheaper, they're less riskier for the bank, and this is how it happens in most of the business, for most of the big businesses. So because big businesses, they borrow for 100, 200, 300, 400, even 500 crores. I have seen this big groups and big textile companies, they borrow a lot of money. So when they borrow a lot of money, something should be there with the bank as a security. Okay, so in that case, you give away your house. It can be a factory, it can be a machinery, it can be a piece of valuable land, it can be your car, so it can be anything. So we've done normal loans. I told you normal loans, it can be short term, long term. Okay, interest rate, it depends on the amount, it depends on the bank. When you borrow more, the interest rate is less. When you borrow less, the interest rate is more. I showed you the example how it works. Yeah. So yes, and we've talked about mortgages where the bank, keeps a security. Um, then you have overdraft. Let me tell you what an overdraft is with an example. Okay. For example, let's say you have 5 lakhs taka in your bank account. Let's say you have 5 lakhs taka in your bank account. Okay. But you can withdraw 8 lakhs. You can withdraw more than what you have. Okay. You're overdrawing your account. You can overdraw your account, or your overdraft limit is 3 lakhs. So this is known as a bank overdraft. Okay, you can withdraw more money than you have. Let's say you have 5 lakhs, but you can withdraw 8 lakhs. You can withdraw 3 lakhs more. You can overdraw your account by 3 lakhs. Of course, when you overdraw, there will be an interest rate incurred depending on the bank, depending on the country, depending on the amount. Sometimes the bank will tell you if you repay it within 1 month, no interest rate, interest free. If you exceed more than 1 month, then they will start charging interest rate. So the word overdraft, you can withdraw more money than you have over. Okay, you can go over the limit. So if you forget, because I know it may be confusing, you have overdraft, bank loans, mortgages, just think about the name overdraft. So you can uh, overdraw than the money that you have in your bank account. So that's overdraft. Okay, and I have told you, and it is a short term loan. It is for emergency. It's for small businesses, short term loan, small businesses, because you will get overdraft limits of something like this: 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, not a crore, not anything like that. So it is for basically short-term loan for emergency use. So this is an overdraft. So banks can issue three kinds of loans that we've talked about: unsecured loans, normal loans that we have given an example in the starting. Okay, there we go. And then you have mortgages where you have some kind of security, a land, a property, machineries, equipment. And then you can also have overdraft, which is like short term. Mortgages are more long term, okay, 20, 25 years. So these are the three kinds of loans banks can give you, provide you. Let's see what have example of a debenture. Okay, great. Now, debenture is very simple. Let's do it with an example. Let's say you want to invest in my company 1 crore. You want to invest 1 crore. Okay, great. You want to invest one. You want to invest 1 crore in my company. That's good. But how are you? I mean, what's the time frame I'm going to return you the money in 12 years? Okay, so it's individuals or businesses investing in some other company. I would say individuals. So you will invest 1 crore, and I told you that I'm going to return you in 12 years. Fine. Every money you will receive 1.5 lakhs, okay, which means every year you'll be receiving 18 lakhs. After 12 years, you'll be receiving 2 crore and 16 lakhs. So it's more than what you've invested. So you'll be making a profit of 1 crore and 16 lakhs. It is like normal investment. It's not investment from a bank. It is usually an investment from an individual. Okay, so you invest in a company, and every month they will give you money, okay, with interest rate, and you get that money. So after 12 years, you'll be making 2 crore and 16 lakhs a profit. Now, the difference is, you can tell me, oh, this is like someone who buys shares. The difference is, with share capital and debenture, you do not have the right to make any decision. You're not a shareholder. You're just an outside investor. Okay, and you will get the profit. You have no involvement with the decision of the business. You have no involvement with business practices. You have just invested the money in terms of profit. I mean, your interest is just to make profit. So if you've invested 1 crore for 12 years, since you've invested 1 crore for 12 years, I will give you 1.5 lakhs every year. Every month. So every year you're making 18 lakhs. So if you multiply into 12 years, you will be getting double the amount that you invested. So it's a profit motive. But in debenture, the difference between debenture and a capital share is, in capital share, you're shareholders. You can make decisions, but in debenture, you cannot make decisions. You're not the shareholder. Yes, there is a case you can convert your debentures into shares, but usually debentures, no. So this is an example of a debenture. Okay, so it's a method of loan finance. Again, it is a long-term source of finance. Okay, and this is how it functions. This is how it works. Right. Just give me 1 minute. I just want to check my Facebook. Is everything fine? I hope Renuba, Zavir, you can see the live classes properly. There are no problems. Right, and you get a fixed rate of return every month. You get a fixed rate of return every 1 month. You're not an owner. You have no voting rights. You've just invested, and you get an amount, a fixed amount every month that we have seen here. Okay, 1.5 lakhs every month, every year 18 lakhs, and at the end of 12 years, you get this much amount. Okay, but you have no voting rights. You don't have any decision to make in the business. Okay, so that's what a debenture is. But share capital is like debentures, exactly like debentures. But we're going to talk about share capital now. But you are an owner. You are a shareholder. For example, I have this another company that most of you don't know about. It's called Fyruz Dashboard Limited. Now, Fyruz Dashboard Private Limited is an IT company that invests on education related products. Okay, education IT products. So It's a private limited company, and I hope since you're in AS, you know what a private limited company means. It has a separate legal identity. That means the owner and the businesses are separate. They're not one entity. If anything happens to the business, it does not affect the owner. If anything happens to the owner, it does not affect the business. If the business is facing losses, I don't have to pay money from my pocket. It has it is an incorporated business. It has more status, right? There you go. So it's a private limited company. The authorized capital is 1 crore. So for our business, we started with this in investment, sorry, 1 crore. And it varies. For my business, it may be 1 crore. For your business, it may be 2 crores. It may be it may be 50 lakhs. It may be 50 crores. It depends. So we started a standard rate in terms of Bangladesh. In terms of Bangladeshi context, the standard amount when you start a private limited company is 1 crore. Okay, so we started with 1 crore, which means I'm the founder, okay, I'm the managing director, and I have 50% of the shares, majority of the shares, I have it. Okay, so that means I have invested 50 lakhs, not 60. Sorry, it's a mistake. So if I've invested 1 crore and if I own 50%, that means I have invested 50 lakhs, 50. Okay. And since I'm the major investor, I have more control. I can make more decisions, right? And then Nabila Mahmood, my wife, is the chairman. She has 30%. Okay. I have 50%. My wife has 30%, which means she has invested 30 lakhs. So 50 plus 30, 80. 20 lakhs is still left. My brother is the a director, okay, and he's invested 20 lakhs. When you add up 50 plus 30 plus 20, it's 1 crore. Okay, so I have more control since I have more shares, and then Nabila, and then my brother. Okay, so this is how a share capital, a private limited company is formed. Okay, and in return, since we've invested, since Nabila has invested, since my brother has invested, in return, they get dividends. Dividends are paid to shareholders annually. If you don't pay dividends, they will be unhappy and they will not invest in the future. Will they invest in the future if you don't pay them dividends regularly? No. So this is an example of a share capital. I have given an example of my second company, of our second company that we started, right? So yeah, there we go. So that's how share capital is. And the good thing about share capital is that these people that they have invested, Nabila has invested 30 lakhs, Taib has invested 20 lakhs. It's a permanent source of finance. I don't have to give them back. Please write down. I'm giving them back in terms of dividends, in terms of profit, but I don't have to give this 50 lakhs back, right now. No, it's a permanent source of finance. I can use that. I can invest in something else. Okay, it's not repaid in any way. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Um, right, and I can also, if I want in the future, I can sell my shares. So instead of 50 having 50%, I will have 40%, and can sell 10% if I want. If I see that the value of the company has gone up, if I see that the business is not valued at 1 crore, now it's valued at 3 crores because we're doing good, we have made a lot of profit, the value has gone up. So I may think of selling the shares to you or someone else. Okay, so that can also happen, right? Um, yeah, and there are three kinds of shares. Edexcel has taken an extra step to explain these things, which is good in a way, but sometimes I think they overdo it, but it's fine. Ordinary shares, okay, ordinary shares is like the ones that I have described. There is no guarantee that you're going to get dividends. Okay, you are the founding team, and there's no guarantee you're going to get any dividends. You have voting rights, you will decide, but there is no guarantee. You can sell it, you can resell it, you can buy it again. So that is an ordinary share. Okay, so ordinary share is like any other share, but there is no guarantee that you're getting dividend. You have voting rights. Okay, With preference shares, what is it, it is less risky because there is guarantee that you will get dividends. You have the right to dividends. Okay, so there you go. And if you've missed any payments, in the past, you will also get that. So yeah, so uh, that is preference shares, and they may not be owners, they may not be directly owners. So that is the main difference between ordinary shares, is that there's no guarantee you will get dividends. And in preference shares, yes, there is a guarantee you will get dividends with a fixed rate of interest. And then you also have deferred shares. Deferred shares is mainly for the founder of the company. Let's say I'm the founder of the company and I will use it during emergency. Let's say I've been paid ordinary shares let's say I need more money, okay? And then I can apply for this. Right, and usually it's with the founders, the core team, the core members of the company, usually a founder. And you can use deferred shares once you've received dividends from ordinary and preference shares. Okay, so there are three kinds of shares. Don't be confused. Ordinary shares, just like this, I've described you. You're the founder of the company, you've invested, you may get dividends, you may not get dividends, right? If you make a loss, you may not get a dividend. If you make profit, you will get a dividend. Sometimes, even if you make profit, you don't distribute dividend because you want to invest in something else. You want to invest in some products. You want to invest in some other businesses, or you want to keep it as a retained profit, okay, and use it later. So so that is ordinary shares. But for preference shares, there is a guarantee that you will get your money back, okay, in a fixed period of time, and on a fixed date. If they have missed your payment in the past, they will give it to you with late payments. So that's preference shares. Okay. And deferred shares usually lies with the founders of the company, and it can be only used once you have received dividends from ordinary shares. After that, it's used like in an emergency case. Okay. And usually founders have the right to use deferred shares. Keep that in mind. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to comment in the section below. In the comment section, we'll take your question, or we also have a private group. Now we have two private groups. We can also discuss there. Great. Let's go ahead. It's a great class. If you guys have any question, do not hesitate to question here. Let me just check our Facebook page if we have. Okay, right. Everything seems perfect. Let's go ahead. Nice. Who is this? Does anyone know this man? I recently read a book on him. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So this is Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is an venture capitalist. Okay, he's a German American entrepreneur, and he can be called he is a venture capitalist. And venture capitalists usually invest in technological companies, and he is the person who was the first. He also invested in companies like PayPal, and he is also invested in SpaceX. Okay, so let's know more about him. And he made an investment of $500,000, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is like 4 crores in Bangladeshi taka, for 10.2%. He sold majority of his shares in 2012. Can you tell me the amount that he made in 2012? He invested this money, I think, back in 2004 or 2005. He invested back in 2004 and 2005 $500,000 for only 10.2%. When he sold his shares in 2012, after some years, he made almost $1 billion. He sold majority of his shares. So think about it. Venture capitalists can be very rich. And he's also written this Amazing book, 0 to 1. Right? He is a very famous capitalist, venture capitalist, and he has his own company. So please, if you can read this book, 0 to 1, it's a very, very good book. So, yeah, so this is a venture capitalist. Okay. So they are specialists. They provide money to small businesses, medium businesses. Facebook was a small business, 2%. And in 2012, when he sold his shares, he almost made $1 billion. Think about it. Okay. Uh, so there you go. There you go. Yeah, and usually a venture capitalist will stay with the company for 5 years. They will stay for just not for a long time, for 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8 years, and then they will go away because their intention is to help a small or a medium business. When they make profit, they take the profit, okay, they withdraw their profit, and they go to a separate company. Okay, and that's what Peter Thiel also did. So he invested. When he saw that he invested 500,000 and he made $1 billion, he withdrew the amount and he invested in some other companies like SpaceX and so on. Okay, so that is a venture capitalist. Okay. Now, what is a lease? Let's talk about a lease. Now, look at this beautiful property. Oh, beautiful land, beautiful landscape, isn't it? Beautiful house. Now, if I buy this property, it will, it will cost me 10 crores. But instead of buying, I have this another option. I can hire it for 20 years. I can lease it for 10 years and I will just pay 2 crores. So I'm not paying 10 crores. I'm saving a lot of money, right? I'm saving a lot of money. I'm just paying 2 crores and that is good. Uh, okay, because I will get up to date equipments because I'm not buying it. Somebody else will be buying it. I'm leasing it. Okay. Sometimes the maintenance is done by the authority. Okay. So that's why people go for leasing. Leasing is like hiring, but for a long time. And we've talked about leasing. We've talked about this HSBC Bank selling it to IDB and again getting their own property as a lease back. Okay. So instead of buying it, you can lease it. You can instead of buying an air conditioner, you can lease it. Let's say you don't want to spend 1 lakh, but you can lease it monthly, pay just 3,000 taka every month. So in that way, you're saving money. But the problem is sometimes you end up paying more. Sometimes Onik Manushabala, it's good to invest in properties or lands because it becomes your own. You're investing somewhere else. Okay. So that is leasing. Okay. So let's have a look. So instead of buying it, you use it and you use it for a long time, 10 years, 20 years, right? Okay. So there you go. So instead of buying this property, I will lease it for 10 years, and instead of spending 10 crores, I'll spend 2 crores. So I will have a lot of money. Okay. Um, let's have a look at the advantages of leasing. You don't have to pay a huge sum of money. I'm not paying 10 crores, I'm paying 2 crores less. Maintenance can be done by the company. Okay. You may get up to date equipments, right? Okay. And yeah, so these are some of the advantages that you have. Yeah. But however, the disadvantage is that sometimes it becomes more expensive. You're paying monthly, and at the end of the day, it is more expensive than buying a property. And there are people who will advise you that it is better to buy a property instead of leasing. So instead of just paying 5,000 taka per month for an air conditioner, I can buy it. It'll be my own. It'll be there for forever. Okay. So instead of paying 2 crores for 10 years, let me buy the property. So it'll be there with me forever. Okay. So that is leasing. Right. We haven't any questions so far. Please write it down on the comment section. 34 minutes. So yeah, there we go. So we have these kind of shops, these kind of small grocery stores everywhere around the country. This is a part of our culture. This is our grocery store. The modern grocery store that we see, Agoda, Shopno, these are modern, these are Western concept. But this is a proper Bangladeshi grocery store that we have. Now, I remember, when I was young, when I was doing A level, I used to take baki from these kind of grocery store, baki, and they used to have a baki khata for me. Okay, he's taken this, he's taken that. Do you remember? You take something and you pay them later. Let's say you buy two packets of chips and it costs 30 taka and you pay them later. So that's baki. Yes, so there you go. So that is baki. Now, how is baki translated? Trade credit. So trade credit and a baki is the same thing. So I will give you an example, right? Example for trade credit, and it's a real example. So I had to buy 5 air conditioners for FES when I started in 2015. But 5 air conditioners are quite expensive. 2,50,000 taka. And I didn't have so much money back then, or I didn't want to spend so much of money. So what my mother did was, my mother said, I know someone, he owns an electrical company and he sells ACs, and he can give you a trade credit. Since I know him, and my mother is her regular customer, regular client, I said, yeah, sure. So the owner told me that you make an initial deposit of 50,000, and the balance will be 2 lakhs taka, and every month you can pay me 50,000. So in 4 months you'll be done with the installment payment. So instead of paying 2,50,000 altogether, I'm just paying 50,000 initial deposit. I get the product, I get the ACs, I can install them at my place, and every month I pay 50,000. Isn't it good? So I don't have to pay out so much of money. So I can keep those money in the bank, I can keep it in my hand and pay it in 4 monthly installments. Now, since I paid it quickly in 4 months, there was no interest rate. Okay. Sometimes when you go over the time limit, there may be interest rate. Again, like banks, 7%, 6%, 3%. But I paid it on time. I still use them. I do have a very good cordial relationship with them. So if you want a trade credit, or if you want a baki from these kind of stores, you need to have a good relationship with the with mama here. Okay, let's say mama. So with the owner, or in case of grocery store, this person, the owner. Otherwise, they will not give you trade credit. Now, when you want a loan from the bank, they check your credit history, credit check. Here, you need to have a good relationship. Otherwise, they will not give you. Okay. And sometimes, as I told you, you have to pay extra for taking more time to pay. So there was a case, where I took some stuff from the same store and it took me some time to pay. So, and then they told me, since you're taking some more time, you have to pay an interest rate. And I did pay it. Okay. So this is a trade credit. In simple terms, in our terms, it's a baki. Okay. So yeah, there we go. And it is very common for businesses to buy raw materials and pay it at a later date. Okay, pay for goods and services. It's an interest-free way of paying. If you pay it quickly in 3-4 months' time, you can enjoy interest-free. But if you take more time than the allotted time, then you may pay interest. Okay, but you need to have a very good relationship. You need to pay a very good relationship with the owners. Otherwise, they will not give you. Right. Any questions so far? Please write it down here. We're having a great class. We are almost done with the chapter. So yeah. Then look at this piece of land. Beautiful piece of land. Right. It's a helicopter shot. It's an overview, bird's eye shot. Now, let's say this piece of land is quite underdeveloped. Let's say this is quite underdeveloped, and you're thinking of opening a school. You're thinking of opening a training center for skills development. You want to teach them how to use computer. You want to teach them how to sew. You want to teach them how to do organic farming. Okay. And since it's an underdeveloped area, area, you're also thinking of creating jobs. So you go to the government, and you tell the government that, I'm going to develop this area. I'm going to open school, I'm going to open shops, I'm going to open a training center for skills development. And government, NGOs, they can give you grants. Okay, because you are going to increase their living standard. You're going to you're going to develop this certain specific area, and therefore government or NGOs will give you grant for developing the area, for increasing the living standard. They may give you a grant of 1 crores, 2 crores, because you're doing something good for the society. You're doing something good for the economy. You're doing something good for the country. Okay, so that is a grant. Okay, so businesses may need financial support, and government will give you grant if they see that you're doing something good for the environment, for the country, for the economy. For example, opening a school, opening a college or a training center for skills development. You're creating jobs. You're developing that area, that landscape. So the government will give you grants. So that's called a grant. Grant. Now, once you get a grant, you don't have to return it. A grant is like is like a donation from the government. The government is giving you free money. You don't have to repay it back. So that's a grant. Okay, so there we go. And grants are usually given to small businesses. It can be in terms of money. It can be in terms of, like, okay, I'll give you an office space. I'll give you workers. Okay, it can also be like that. So that is a grant. Okay. Yeah, so we are done. We're done in 40 minutes, which is great. So today we have talked about a lot of things in a very simple way. So let's go back and see what we've talked about. Let's just conclude our presentation. So we've talked about banks, we've talked about normal loans, unsecured loans, we've talked about mortgages, secured loans, where you have houses and cars mortgaged, they have a security, and then you have overdraft. We've talked about share capital. I give you an example of my company, Fyruz Dashboard. Okay, we've talked about debentures. The main difference between debentures and share capital is, in share capital, you are the owners, you're the shareholder, you can make decision, you have voting rights. But for debentures, you don't have that. Okay, we've talked about leasing, we've talked about trade credit. Okay, so we've spoken about all these things. Great. If you still have any questions, please comment on the comment section. I will take it. Even after the class, you can post comments and do discussions, right? I will respond to you. And we finished this chapter, which is great. I will email you the slides. Now I will have a personal Zoom session with my students. So great. Thank you very much. I will see you soon. Do not hesitate to like our Facebook page, Fyruz Education Services. Do not, again, hesitate to subscribe our YouTube channel, Fyruz Education Services. We're constantly uploading lots of videos. Thank you very much. I will see you again.